Look alive, sunshine. Today, Logan, I was finally able to see it after so many people were talking and so many people were saying how good it was, and I was left out because everybody saw it like on Thursday night or Friday, and some even saw it on Saturday, but I finally got to see it today on Sunday. Now, Logan is finally just changing the X-Men universe for the better, I think, which it is time for. So, Logan takes place 6 years after the events of Days of Future Past. At the end, they got the timeline set straight. Then, somewhere in between that ending and the beginning of this film, Charles goes off with his seizures, kills the X-Men. He is classified as a weapon of mass destruction, or his brain is. And Logan takes him on the run, and now he is hiding out with Caliban, and they are all in El Paso, Texas, trying to, help Charles live out the rest of his days in peace. Now, this is a very real, you're going to hear that word a lot from different reviewers, different people, everybody, and probably in this review. And this does contain spoilers, so. And this plot was very real, down to earth, even though it's not, in that way. And I feel like it's like that with Captain America the Winter Soldier. It's as down to earth as you can get with mutants and the X-Men universe. And that just goes to show that this X-Men universe just can take off in this way, and it can do really good in that type of film. So the plot was really, really good. I enjoyed the plot and how it was something that you never thought could have happened. Like Charles kills his his team and his family basically, and it's just something that you never thought Charles would have done, but he couldn't control it. He was just getting old and senile. And in this plot, there was a lot of humor too, which I wanted to touch on because Marvel always does humor no matter what, and I think that this film did it right in the way where the humor is mixed very well with the pain and struggle of the actual plot of it. How everything is like the dark plot. It's kind of more. It's R-rated, so of course right there it's just gonna tell you what it's gonna be like, but it's R-rated. So there are a lot of fucks and there are a lot of just like other cuss words in it, and that just causes for laughter because you don't usually hear those characters saying those words. So that was cool too. Now, this was a perfect end cap, I think, to Logan and to the character. This made sure that he was gone and he was dead and he was that was the end of it. And I really liked how they wrapped it up and they brought in, and he got to see himself and Laura, and he just like the subtleties and the metaphors and everything with Logan's life coming to an actual end. There are ways around it. You could do different timelines, but Hugh Jackman said it is his last time playing Wolverine. This man has been playing this character for 17 fucking years. He hasn't even aged. That's like number one, we gotta say. Like, that man has not even aged a bit, just like in his hair color. But it's finally time to retire the character, retire who Logan is, and bring in the new wave of characters. And the New Mutants were name dropped in this movie, so that is obviously like going to start some production soon. And now, Logan is done. Logan is ended. Not the movie, the character, he's done. Now, what do we do? Because people know Wolverine with X-Men, Wolverine, X-Men. Okay? Now, what do we do with that? People are saying we can recast Wolverine. That is a bad idea. I think Wolverine needs to stay this one-off character. Hugh Jackman needs to be the only person that ever played him. I think that is the best way to do it. I think that would just be a perfect way to end off the character and not recast and not go down the Batman route. So I think that the way that they need to do it is that they need to take Laura. If they recast Daphne Keane for an older actress because they wanted to do a new movie, revolved around her and like maybe some of her friends, I would sue. There would be protest out in front of the fucking Fox Studios. It would be over for them because that is not happening on my watch. I'm not letting them recast her because, okay, now I'm going to talk about her later because there's a lot to talk about with that character. So I think that they need to take Laura and they need to make her the new Wolverine. She needs to take the mantle. She needs to struggle with it, and because like at the end, when she was crying and everybody in the theater was crying and everybody, was just experiencing a lot of emotions, that's obviously hard for her. And I think she either would really want to take up the mantle to honor him, or she is really hesitant. And I think it would be better for the character if she was really hesitant and her team helps her out and she takes on the role. That's your Wolverine. So I don't think that they should recast. I think that they should make her the Wolverine as she is in the comics. Or not the comics. There was a woman Wolverine. I don't read Marvel comics. I'm guessing off one cover that I've seen that is actually X-23. So I'm not into Marvel comics I've never been into Marvel comics. Marvel comics have never been my thing. I'm DC ride or die comics, okay? Marvel movies and Marvel entertainment I'm down with. But Marvel comics have just always been really confusing, especially the X-Men one. So I have not been fucking with that. So one thing I wanted to talk about also was that there is no costume. There's no final. We never got to see the yellow spandex costume, and for everybody in this fucking house is sick. Okay, we never got to see the original costume. We never got to see the yellow spandex. Bitch, if they put that in here, that would have been it for me. I would have ran out of the theater. I would have been gone because I was not having that in this movie. I was not having it in any of the movies. The Wolverine character that they made with Hugh Jackman, after 17 years, and if he put on that suit, it looks so stupid. I can't. Okay, the costume is awesome in the comics. It makes Wolverine Wolverine. It makes him a good-looking X-Men fighter as a part of the team. In this movie, with the tone that it had, if it brought in that costume, it just wouldn't work. It would ruin the whole thing, and I'm so glad that they saw that, and I'm so glad that they didn't just, conform to what some people wanted, because that was going to be a really bad thing if they actually did that. I don't think any movies with him in it fit, around that costume. I don't think he should have worn it in any single one of them. I'm glad that he didn't. But he had this situation going on. He had that, and it was so funny because at the end he got shaved, and it looks just like this, and it looks like sometimes he had the mutton chops in the comics, and that's kind of like a nice homage or something. I don't know, ode to the comics Wolverine, because we never got to see comics Wolverine really, and that just was kind of a funny way to do it. So now after that, okay, we're gonna talk about the acting. Now the acting, first of all, Daphne Keane as X-23 as Laura, she overshadowed everybody, which I am totally okay with. She deserves all the praise that she's been getting, because what's hard to do is act without lines, and acting without lines is so difficult because you have to say what you're thinking and what you're gonna do with no words. So the visual language that you have to put out there and show the camera is very difficult, and for somebody of that age to be able to do that is just really, really cool and good. And her character was awesome. They made her mimic Wolverine in just all the ways. It was so funny just seeing him have to interact with basically himself, and I just loved her acting. Her acting was great. The other people were great. Hugh Jackman always does a good job as Wolverine. Patrick Stewart did a good job as a senile old man for the first part, and then he kind of got his wits back at the end. And just everybody did a really good job, and I think that contributes to the script and obviously the directing. So that is just something I got to give praise to James Mangold for doing. This is the visual storytelling in this. That's something that you need to definitely know when you watch it again, because obviously you're watching it and it's spoiler. That's why I just paused, because I just realized that. And when you watch it again, because obviously whoever's watching this, you're watching this movie again. The visual storytelling with the camera movements and the acting and how he tells them to react without words, because Wolverine and X-23 are the same person, and those genes, that personality that they both have, they don't like to talk a lot. They're not talkers, and it was just something that was very hard to tackle, I bet. So I really want to give props to that. So this movie ranks number 2 right now, and it ranks number 1. But I know after all the dust settles, I'm still gonna be fucking with Days of Future Past the hardest, because of how much I was just die hard at that time when that movie came out. I'd been into superheroes and comics hardcore for like probably like 2 years. Yeah, like probably like 2 years when that came out. And it was just such an probably like 1.5 years. So I was like hardcore collecting all the old back issues, all the pop figures. I was so into it. I was so pumped for that movie. So that just brings up like really awesome feelings in me of remembering going to see Days of Future Past in the theaters and just like remembering how cool it was to actually see the X-Men First Class people and the original X-Men people interact for like the first time. That shit's always dope. It usually only happens on TV shows though because of like movies not being able to last that long. Movie franchises. What is that on my Xbox? But movie franchises don't act. They don't last that long. And this one did, and that movie just like fucked it all up. But I do think that Logan had better storytelling. It had better, directing. I think that it did better in a lot of ways, but I do like Days of Future Past more. So Days of Future Past, Logan, and then Deadpool, which is such a male thing to say. I hate saying it, but I cosplayed as Deadpool in like 2012, and I've been loving him forever. And I remember when they were trying to make this movie and Deadpool, and it was just really, really fun. So now, last thing I want to talk. Did you hear that? That's like, oh my god! I think I just broke my iPad. Last thing, the R rating. Now, this is something that never has obtained to me. My parents never gave a fuck about what I watched for some reason. I don't know. And so, like, that's never been something that's been, like, on my mind. But now that I see what people actually do with R ratings, it's so amazing because the character, it first was brought to my attention by, like, Daredevil. And, like, when I first started binge watching, like House of Cards or something. And it was brought to my attention that these characters, like Frank Underwood and House of Cards and Daredevil, they all fit, like, R ratings. And Daredevil and his blood and his gore and everything, it was amazing to see that they were actually telling a great story because that's the character. Logan was never able to do that. He has always been known. After, like, Deadpool just went full force, and, like, that was just a toss-up for Fox, and it went off just, like, awesomely for them. And that just showed them that these characters that need to be R-rated can be R-rated, and they'll still make money. We'll still go see it. It doesn't matter. R ratings aren't as scary as people think that they are. I saw so many kids in there, and I think that it's starting to wear off. Just like the impact of R ratings are just gone, and I think that having characters that need to be told in R ratings definitely need to do. And I think since Deadpool fucked it, like, amazingly, like, he did everything really right with the R rating and telling people it's okay, you can like it now, that Wolverine brought in a whole different kind of R rating. That was R rating. Deadpool was R rated for, like, stupid jokes and, like, and all that stuff. So Logan was R-rated for the character expressing himself as, Wolverine. So I think that when they decide that R ratings are the thing of the future, that we are going to get a lot better movies because it gives them the first word in this movie in Logan was fuck, and I just loved it because, like, it gives such a depth to the characters that you don't get with PG-13 rated movies. It gives what you actually know from the comics, like what they want to say but they can't say in the comics, and what they want to say in the movies but they can't because it's not suitable. Now they can say it. So I just wanted to throw out that R ratings are the way of the future. Mark my words. So that's it for the video. It's been a long video. I've just been babbling because of how much I like this movie, and I just saw it, so I wanted to talk about it, and I just yelled it at a camera, and now I'm uploading it. So that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think about everything about the movie. The best part about it was X-23 and Laura. She just did an amazing job as actress, and her fight scenes were really funny and cool. Just like the way that she used her body to do, like, gymnastic moves around their necks and, stab them. So that was cool. That was my favorite part. What was your favorite part? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe because there are going to be a lot of really cool videos coming out this year, and I want you to be a part of it. So don't forget that subscription button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.